The Carolina Hurricanes are set to kick off their 25th anniversary season tonight as they take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Find out what you can expect from this game, the keys to victory, and all of that good stuff in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Wednesday afternoon. And follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis_96. And the day is finally here, folks. It is opening night for the Hurricanes. I am so excited for this game tonight. It feels like it's been forever. And I am just so excited for this season. It's the 25th anniversary season, so the Hurricanes are already pulling out all the stops. They're wearing their anniversary jerseys tonight. Really no surprise there. They announced yesterday the Carolina Hurricanes Hall of Fame. We'll talk more about that in another episode. But they're also going to have more stuff coming out all year long. There's no telling what's going to happen. But first and foremost, we have the game tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets. What everyone's waiting for. It is 11:41 a.m. and people are already at PNC Arena tailgating. Crazy. I love you guys. Actually, I know a few folks that are there. I'll see you guys soon. But what to expect from tonight? This is the big stuff right now. And I said last week, that was kind of our first look at Columbus for this season. But one thing that I don't think I mentioned in that was that's not going to be the Columbus. That wasn't the Columbus team that we're seeing tonight. They've made roster moves. Johnny Gaudreau, their big offseason acquisition, wasn't even playing in that game. And tonight, that's what we're going to be seeing. We're going to be seeing, for the most part, the Columbus team that will be facing all year long, minus Elvis Merzlikins, who isn't going to be playing tonight because he is sick. So, this is going to be a different Columbus team that we played last week. But on the flip side of that, this is not the same Hurricanes team that they played last week. This Hurricanes team is, I think, going to be really freaking good this year. We obviously are still, waiting on a couple guys, to get back in the lineup, like Max Pacioretty, who we talked about ad nauseum this offseason. Him coming here, him practicing, him getting hurt, and then waiting for him to come back. So this isn't the same Hurricanes team that they faced last week, and I think both teams obviously know this, that these aren't the same teams that they faced. And one thing that I am expecting this tonight in this game is the new guys to really shine for the Hurricanes. Brent Burns and Calvin Hahn and Derek Stepan especially. I think those are going to be the three guys that are really those are going to be like the three new guys to really watch. Burns, obviously, he had a heck of a preseason, so I expect that to just continue on. Derek Stepan, another guy that had a really, really good preseason, and he signed his 1-year deal yesterday. The same exact deal that I predicted. The 1 year, $750,000. That's what I predicted. That's what he signed. I am convinced that someone with the organization listens to the show, but I expect him, to just have himself a game. I really do. I expect him to look really good tonight. And again, kind of carry over from what we saw in preseason into tonight and how he's got his contract. And I think he may have a little something to prove because we've all talked about how the team was better with him in the lineup last season. The fact that he didn't play in the playoffs, I think, was a mistake. And I think he's gonna have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I obviously he's not gonna say that, and no one's gonna say that, but I feel like he may have a little bit of a chip because it took so long to get a contract. Obviously, Hurricanes really, really, really freaking deep at the forward position, so obviously I do understand that, but it was like the guy had such a good preseason. What took so long? And then Calvin DeHaan as well, him, being another guy coming off of a PTO, he got his 1 year deal, and he's looking to be on the third pairing tonight. And I really think he's just gonna be another one that's got something to prove this year, and he's really gonna do that tonight. And because he talked about, how kind of disappointed, he was with his time in Chicago of it being pretty underwhelming and not very successful. And now he's back on a very competitive team. And I think he's gonna play that way. He already knew the system. We've went through training camp, we went through preseason, all that. I think he is going to be another guy that you really want to watch tonight and really all season. Those three guys, not just tonight, all season long for those new guys. And obviously, Stepan and DeHaan new, but those guys, I think they're really going to be ones to watch. And we can go down the list. Obviously, Statsny, he's likely going to be on the Staal Foss line. I think, he's going to shine there. And Jalen Chatfield, is looking to play tonight as well. We'll talk more about that when we talk about the opening night roster and the lines for tonight. I think he's going to be one. A lot of folks loved him last year. I think he's going to be the same way this year. And I think that these guys tonight, they're going to have some fire in them. They really are. And while I do think that we could very well see some growing pains starting out, very much like we did last year when we had all of that turnover, going into this year was another year or another offseason of a lot of turnover. I do think you could see some growing pains, folks settling in, but I think I was really impressed with the preseason, how well new guys seem to settle in. And I'm really, really excited to see what this team can do. Obviously, if you remember back to opening night last year against the Islanders, Freddie was he was good, but not great. Not what people were necessarily expecting. And then, he settled in and really got the feel of the Hurricanes team and the team in front of him. And, he had a Vezina caliber season. Had he not tore his MCL, I think he very well could have been a finalist. So you look at all of that. I really think that this team is going to be dangerous this year. And I think they're going to be dangerous tonight. I really, really do because, we'll talk more about it with the lines, but these are some dangerous looking lines, and I am loving what I'm seeing. And same with the defensive pairs. I'm really loving what I am seeing there. And another one that I think is going to be one to watch tonight and just in general this season is Jesperi Kotkaniemi. I think he is going to thrive in his new role as the second line center. It very well could end up being a little bit like Freddie Anderson last year, where it took a little bit to get there and get his footing. But I really do think he's gonna be another one to watch tonight. He really, really is, and I'm very much looking forward to watching all these guys that I've named. Jesperi, Brent Burns, Calvin DeHaan, Derek Stepan, Jalen Chatfield. Obviously, I'm looking forward to watching all those guys, but the team as a whole tonight, I think they're going to be buzzing. the arena is gonna be absolutely wild. Again, it's not even noon and people are already tailgating. So it's gonna be absolutely wild there. I think the guys are gonna be feeding off of that energy. And one thing I think is gonna be really fun after the game is hearing from some of these new guys in post game of what they thought about the crowd, because you remember last year, a lot of new guys coming in, and then they get in their post game press conference and they're like, "Yeah, the stuff like you hear about the fans here in Raleigh, it's true. It is crazy in there." Obviously, it'll be the same come playoff time. Months and months down the road, we're gonna hear about that. But I think that's gonna be really just a really fun thing for after the game tonight. But it is time to talk about the lines and the opening night roster for the Hurricanes tonight, and we will do that right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, it's that time of the year. It is fall. Folks are going to the gym, trying to avoid putting on the winter weight and whatnot. And Built Bar is here to help you out and be that healthy snack for you guys that have been around for a really long time since the early days of the show. You guys know all about Built Bar, but it's a new season. We got new listeners, so let me tell you all about Built Bar. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. Is absolutely delicious. Whether you go with the original, whether you go with the puffs, the crunch, whatever, Built Bar is absolutely delicious and it's healthy for you. And they're also covered in 100% real chocolate. Built bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. So, eat something that tastes good and is good for you. So, right now, you can run to built.com and snag a box for you or the whole family. You ain't got to share it. You can just hide the box. Or, again, you can be nice too and share. So, right now, you can go to built.com and use promo code locked on 15 and get 15% off your order when you use promo code locked on 15 for 15% off at built.com. Perfect snack for the tailgates as well, folks. So go on over to built.com right now and get you some. So, the lines for tonight. I predicted the opening night roster yesterday, and I wasn't too far off. I think where I was really off was, moving guys to injured reserve and long-term injured reserve and stuff like that. That's where I was off. And I think, as a whole, though, I wasn't super far off, really. And I'm proud of that. But looking at the lines tonight, we're really not surprised in the slightest. I pretty much got all the forwards right, which is great. And Teravainen, Aho, Jarvis on the top line. Duh. Sorry. I mean, that's gonna be the line. With really the only other option would be Svetch going up to that top line. On the second line, you've got Svechnikov, Kotkaniemi, and Natchez. No surprises there. Again, really the only changes that would be made there is Jarvis and Svetch flip-flopping. On the third line, Stastny, Staal, and Fost. Again, we knew that was probably going to be the line this year. And on the fourth line, Jordan Martinook, Derek Stepan, and Andre Kasha. Again, I think that was the one where we could potentially see some folks maybe flip-flopping. Jack Drury was one that was talked about for that fourth line as well. And Stefan Nazin also. Those being guys that could potentially have been in there. Nazin is extra guy for tonight. He has not been sent back to the AHL as of right now. But, that is really no surprise, with those opening night forward lines. I think, that's right moves. Obviously, Jordan Martinook has been assigned to the AHL Chicago Wolves. So, with that, I think they just had him on the opening night roster because it is opening night. Folks love Jordan Martinook. They want him there. So with that, that's something I think they're just kind of doing for tonight, and we'll see how it ends up going later on. I do honestly expect this to be, maybe just opening night. And then after tonight, he's going back to the AHL. Stefan Nazen is then slotting in there in that spot. But that's what I'm saying right now at 11:54 in the morning. That is something that very well could end up changing should Jordan Martinook just go out and have himself a game. That could change. Maybe he sticks around on the NHL roster rather than going down to the AHL roster. But I wouldn't get used to Jordan Martinook staying there on that fourth line. I do think it's probably just for opening night. But ultimately we'll see on that. As far as the defensive pairings go, we pretty much know how the top two were going to be. Jacob Slavin, Brent Burns, Brady Shea, Brett Pesce. You know those are going to be the pairs. And looks like the third pairing for tonight is going to be Calvin DeHaan and Jalen Chatfield. That was the one that caught me off guard. Obviously, Chatfield, another guy that hadn't been. Do you have something to say about Jalen Chatfield? But Jalen Chatfield being on the opening night roster was definitely one that is a pleasant surprise because everyone was saying, how he is ready to be on the NHL roster. And for him to be doing it, I think is great. Yeah, it is great, isn't it, Jagger? It is absolutely great to be seeing Jalen Chatfield get the nod for opening night tonight, with the extra pair being that of Ethan Bear and Dylan Coughlin. And I did predict it would be DeHaan and Coughlin, but again, Jalen Chatfield, he showed he is ready, and I am not disappointed in the slightest. And I'm really ready to see what he can do this year, and he is gonna be really fun to watch. And I do hope that he is one that is able to stick around here on the NHL roster. I really, really do. But ultimately, that's going to be one we just have to wait and see. Freddie Anderson, no surprise, is in the starters crease. And Pyotr Kochetkov was also recalled yesterday. We'll see how that ends up going. I think it may have just been a little bit of safety precaution, but we'll end up seeing. I wouldn't look much into that. Same with Jamison Rees getting recalled as well. Don't look into that stuff at all. But I'm really excited. You obviously heard Jagger is really excited about Jalen Chatfield being on the opening night roster tonight. But we also have the keys to the game tonight of what I think the Hurricanes need to do to really be able to come away with the win tonight. And we'll talk about that right after this quick break. Now, folks, it is time to look at the keys to the game tonight. And I think first and foremost, it's going to be the team chemistry. I feel like that one's kind of a given, but I do think it's very important to start out the season of having that chemistry there. We obviously saw, they look to be doing really, really well with that in the preseason and training camp. So it's not a big worry of mine. But as I mentioned at the start of last year, we did see that a little bit of, kind of getting the feel for each other. And because there are so many new guys here. And obviously a lot of these new guys are veterans and they understand how things work. But preseason and training camp is one thing, regular season is another. So that is one thing that I do feel is pretty important for tonight is just having that team chemistry and everyone being on the same page. And that's going to be really important for tonight. And I don't think it's going to be an issue. Again, I do not think it's going to be an issue, but it is something that I do feel needs to be mentioned. And second is that they need to get to Tarasov early. And I know that's kind of something that everyone says about, going into games, get to the goalie early. But if you do remember, this is a guy that was in the net last week when we beat him 8-1. He was also pulled on New Year's when the Hurricanes had that 7-goal comeback. Again, Merzlikins is not playing tonight. He is sick. So I do feel if you can rattle their backup goalie early, I think they're going to be doing really good. Another thing is the defensemen really need to be on their A game because Chicago, or why did I call them Chicago? I am thinking of Calvin DeHaan already. But Columbus is they made some splashes this offseason, with the biggest one being that of adding Johnny Gaudreau, and you're really going to need to be able to shut that down. And we know, obviously, Jacob Slavin is great at that. Same with Brett Pesce and Brady Shea, but you do have new guys, again, coming from Chicago, Calvin DeHaan, and then Jalen Chatfield, also coming from Chicago, just the different teams. But yeah, you have those two guys coming in, and I think Chatfield's going to be great. You also have Brent Burns. We know he can play defense. He's great defenseman, and folks are still just shocked that the Hurricanes were able to pull that move off. But we got a great blue line going out there tonight, and it's great on paper, absolutely phenomenal on paper. But they need to be that way out there on the ice tonight. I think that is going to be very, very key. And if they can do that, if they can just kind of shut down Columbus's big offensive pieces, if they can do that, I think we'll be in good shape. And then again, just rattle their goalie early. Again, they're not going with their number one goalie tonight. That's going to be something, and that's dangerous for Columbus because again, you look at this Hurricanes team of who we got and just how dangerous it can be. Again, you got Seth Jarvis, Sebastian Aho, Teuvo Teravainen, Andrei Svechnikov, Martin Necas, Paul Stastny. Again, and while they're not necessarily known for offense, Jordan Staal, Derek Stepan, Andre Kasha, Brent Burns, another guy that's an offensive beast. Being out there, Brady Shea, he can turn it on. Jacob Slavin can be sneaky as well. Columbus is going to have their work cut out for him tonight, and they're going to be in front of an absolutely insane opening night crowd, and that's something that you've got to take into consideration is the crowds, whether it is hockey, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, whatever. When you got a rowdy crowd and you're the opposing team, that can get to folks. That can absolutely get to folks, and it can really fire up the home team too. So, you look at all that, and the Hurricanes, they should be they're gonna be dangerous tonight, and they're gonna be dangerous all season, I guarantee it. And before we go, I did want to bring up a really fun stat because, it is the 25th anniversary season, and the Staal family has been, a part of the Hurricanes organization for decades. And, looking at stuff tonight, was Jordan Staal tonight. He's obviously coming into his 11th NH season with the Hurricanes, his 17th overall. He is the sixth player to, and the sixth player, I might add, to skate in 11 plus seasons with the Hurricanes, and they're also Whalers. But I think that is absolutely crazy. The fact that he has been here this long and stuck around too. I know I've touched on this before, but Jordan Staal could have left. He could have asked for a trade. But yeah, he stuck around through it all. And now he's joining Ron Francis, who played 16 seasons, Glenn Wesley, 13, Kevin Dineen, 12, his brother Eric Staal, 12 seasons, and Adam Burt, 11 seasons. And that's absolutely crazy that Jordan has been around this long. Again, the Hurricanes announced, their Hall of Fame. And while, you got the three guys with their numbers retired that are automatically getting in, you look at other guys, that'll get in as time goes on. Eric, I feel he should be a shoe-in whenever the time comes. I feel his number should be retired. He did so freaking much for this team. And Jordan as well, whenever the time comes. This guy, he's been pivotal in this franchise turning around. And you know, just being a constant, it feels like, there's so little to cheer for so long. And for Jordan to still be here, to have gone through it all, to go through that entire span of time where we hated life, and now he's here, seeing the fruits of his labor almost kind of pay off. He's stuck with it, whereas so many other guys are gone. He's the longest tenured Hurricane, obviously, on the team. And another one is that he's the fourth to captain at least 5 seasons as well. Yeah, Ron Francis with 12 seasons, Eric with 7, and Rod with 5. He's obviously, heading into his 4th consecutive, but he did have that one season where he was co-captain with Justin Falk as well. But again, to have just been such a franchise cornerstone and someone that's just been around for so long, I think it deserves recognition, for just how much he's done for the team. And I can't wait to see what he does this year. He's in the last year of his contract, that 10-year extension he signed. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think they'll get another short extension done. I don't see him playing too much longer, but he's on a competitive team now. I don't feel it's going to be one where a la Brent Burns, kind of towards the end of the road almost, and wanting to go to a winning team. Jordan Staal is on a winning team, and I really hope he's able to etch his name into Hurricanes history sooner rather than later. There more than he has already, and to get to the promised land after being with us for so long, I really hope he can. Hopefully, this is the year, but that's into the season, into the postseason. Tonight is opening night. Let's all enjoy this, folks. I will be there. If you see me, come say hi, and let's enjoy the Hurricanes' 25th anniversary season, guys. So make sure you follow Locked On Hurricanes on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes. Follow myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis _96. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode where we recap opening night. You guys have a great rest of your day. And again, enjoy opening night and let's go Canes.